So great to have you all. Great to have everybody here. This is the first of these meetings that we'll have over the course of the next several weeks. We've been doing these now for several years as a way of onboarding our incoming students, and the feedback from current students is like they're really helpful just to kind of sometimes just reiterate or explain or give time for questions for things that you need to know about getting ready to start medical school. So there's a lot to take in. We're just going to start with some of the high level stuff today, and we'll be seeing each other for the next few weeks. We're here as a resource, and we want this to be, as we said in the email, a smooth transition as possible for everybody because it's a big move, it's an exciting move, but we want to try to help you out as much as we can. So I'm going to share my screen, and then Tom will share his in a little bit. But I'm going to pull up the accepted central site that might hopefully look familiar to you. Uh, guys can see that. There we go. Okay, so if you haven't come here yet or very often, we encourage you to start to become familiar with it and become comfortable with it. And so what I'm going to do here initially is just kind of give you an overview if you're new to coming to this site. If you're like, I haven't really checked it out yet because it seems kind of far away, starting med school and stuff. Well, that's what we're here for. So we're going to highlight a few things. Tom's got a few bullet points. I have a few bullet points. And then we'll go from there. Along the left menu bar, I just want to highlight that all this stuff here, it's like from a conditions to acceptance, of acceptance down to campus resources. This is kind of for all of our students. So this site is used by university program students, incoming MSTP students, and incoming learner program students. So you'll see that on the menu bar here that I can get to scroll down. Oops, down here. That so CCLCM only, that's for those incoming students. And then we have university program MSTP, kind of our area. But everything from a conditions of acceptance down to campus resources is for all incoming students. So we have some things there. And then when you click on here, this takes you to the UP MSTP things only, and that's where our things for you are going to be located. So Tom is going to highlight some of the things on there as we get to that. But I wanted to just reiterate or maybe remind or bring forward that we start on July 8th. That's when classes, we call it classes and orientation, begin on July 8th. You have to be here on that date. Orientation is not optional. And I emphasize this because I remember several years ago, we had a student who didn't come. He's like, well, in college, orientation was kind of optional. I didn't go to it. We're like, because we were calling him, like, where are you? He's like, I'm in Utah. I'm coming on next Monday. We're like, we need to hear like now, bro. So, we're like, lesson learned, we need to emphasize that well, the first few days are like orientation, like school starts then, like activities and things begin then. Um, so yeah, so July 8th is your day, and then things will kick in the following week as far as like block one material. So wanted to put that out there. And also too, registration. We get questions every year about, do I have to register for classes? The answer is no. You will be registered. You will all be taking the same classes, university program students and MSTP. So as far as like the med school classes, you will all be registered for classes, and basically you're in a block one class. So there's not like any classes you have to do or get on registration site and sign up for. If you're thinking about electives and things like that, you don't have to do that now. You won't even be able to do that now. That will happen after you get here. So don't worry about trying to sign up for electives prior to July 8th. You will get here. The registrar's office will explain to you how and when electives become available and how you sign up for them and things like that. So for now, just put registration off to the side as far as registering for classes. You don't need to worry about that. But here's some new information about registration. It goes into some information about onboarding and how our student information system works. I'll come back to the drug screening thing in a minute, but we have available now the immunization requirements from our University Health Services. So there's some links to worksheets there and to the immunization requirements and how you upload the data to them. You will start to be able to upload that data after June 3rd. So after the commit to enroll date. So just start to gather, go look over that material, the immunization requirements, start gathering that documentation, and just have it ready to start to upload after the beginning of June, after June 3rd. The drug testing requirement, that was something that was rolled out a couple weeks ago. I'm going to scroll down to that on the menu bar here. Something that's new is that one, you're now able to upload those results if you have them to your My Health Connect site. That was active as of yesterday, May 15th. And if you haven't come to this site yet, it goes into great detail about what you need to do. And then down here are the instructions for how to place your order and how to do it and how to upload then your drug screening documentation. So again, Tom and I are not going to read through everything on here. We're just highlighting things for you to come back to and spend a little time and sit with it. And then if you have questions, reach out to us. If we can't answer them, we can triage it out to the people we know to get you the right spaces, okay, to get your questions answered. And then from our financial aid office, I asked them if they had any updates, and they said that if you applied for financial aid and expect to receive an award package, that will be available on your financial aid portal between now and our next meeting. So closer to our next meeting, which is May 30th. And then more will be coming about that. And our financial aid team will probably be on the next meeting on May 30th to walk through things you need to do if you're going to accept your awards, how to go into the financial aid portal and accept your awards and things like that. But Rachel and Jen just said, hey, if you have any questions, they're always, almost always available. So reach out to them at medfinancialaid@case.edu. And they're happy to talk with you if you want to jump on a Zoom and have a meeting with them. Don't be afraid of asking that either. So just kind of sit tight on getting the official award letters. Those will be in the next couple weeks. And looking at my bullet points here, the last thing is between now and the next meeting we'll have on May 30th is we're working on compiling a checklist of things that you can do and be doing and have deadlines on there and things like that. So it's a little bit easier for you to track and make sure that you're checking these things off. So Tom and I will share that checklist out at the next meeting to help you kind of make sure you're getting things done that you need to. So more to come. Accepted Central will evolve over the next several weeks with more things and more things and more information. So as I said right a few minutes ago, it can seem overwhelming. We're here to help hopefully make it feel less overwhelming and a little bit more easier to digest and just kind of walk through and highlight stuff. So more to come. This will expand quite a bit. So with that, Tom, I'm going to stop share and let you share your screen because you're going to highlight some stuff on Accepted Central. So I'll just kind of sit back here. I'll be in the chat. If you guys have specific questions, hit me up here. Otherwise, Tom, they're all yours.
Thanks so much, Christian. If you wanted to, maybe drop the Med Financial Aid email in the chat too. And I guess just Christian, I know kind of gave a brief overview. I'm going to give a brief overview of some things too. Don't let this scare you. This is kind of just a very kind of brief rundown. There's going to be a lot more information to come. I don't think this isn't a call where you got to jump off right away. We got to do this and this and that. Like just take this all in. This is kind of a little bit of an introduction of what's needed. And then once we get to later in the month and approach June, that's when we'll have to really kind of start to have some deadlines in place and whatnot. And that checklist we'll have at the next meeting. So you kind of can have it a little more broken down pretty precisely for you. But so Accepted Central, we now all see it here and whatnot. The first little thing I'm going to share here that you probably maybe already done, which I think about over 90% of you have probably done, is your AAMC criminal background check. You should have all received an email probably sometime at the beginning of January, or depending on when you were accepted later into February, March, or April, from MyCertify that indicates an email request to fill out a background check. And if you have not done this yet, you should have also received an email from me or Irene Foster, our admissions and financial aid assistant. You should have received an email from one of us if you haven't done so. So if you've heard nothing, you're good to go. If you have gotten an email or received an email from either myself or Irene Foster, hey, did you get a chance to complete your background check? We're checking in. definitely, and I received some responses actually from many students already. So I think most of you have already done this, but make sure that if you haven't, jump on this. The other thing too is our entering class group me. And I know many of you have used this. I've seen a lot of the communication taking place on the group me. We are accepting those invitations. So if you want to join the entering class group me, you've probably sent a notification and I've accepted that request. If your request has not been accepted and you would like access to the group me, or you've requested and haven't received it yet, please just shoot me an email and let me know. We just have to monitor who's going into the group me. We'd like to, same with the entering class Facebook page, we'd really like to keep it pretty private and as private as possible. Thanks, Christian. As private as possible. So just shoot me an email and we will get you approved for the group me if you have not done so yet. But that's, I would say, probably the main, I would say, source of communication that the entering class is utilizing and whatnot. So again, just shoot us an email if you haven't gotten an acceptance officially to be a part of that yet, if you would like. Transcripts. I'm going to click on that next. For university program and MSTP students, that's everybody here on the call, you will be required to send us your final transcripts. That is not something that is done by AMCAS. So you will be required to send us your final transcripts. Please wait until your degree is verified. So if you are perhaps on a quarter system at your institution and perhaps you don't graduate until June or late May, please wait until your degree is conferred before you do that. We would like to have the transcript sooner rather than later, but please just send them as soon as you can. But if you are still in school or getting ready to graduate from a particular degree program, just make sure you wait until that degree is final and conferred. Confirmed, excuse me. Those transcripts also must be official. They need to come sealed via mail, or they can be sent electronically from your institution. They must come from the institution directly. They can't come directly from you. You cannot send us an official transcript. We got to have it directly from the institution. So definitely request to get that done. And I'm sorry, again, AMCAS does not send those. So just remember that will not be done by AMCAS. June 3rd is the commit to enroll deadline. Please wait until after you have selected commit to enroll. As you know, selecting commit to enroll means you have withdrawn from all of your acceptances, of course, but in addition, more importantly, all of the wait lists that you may be holding at other schools. That's when we know you are officially coming to case and we are expecting you. And on June 3rd, just wait. That's the commit to enroll deadline, excuse me. But please just wait until you have selected commit to enroll before sending in your final transcripts. If you have planned to enroll and you're still holding potential alternate list options at your disposal and whatnot, please wait until you have officially selected commit to enroll before sending those transcripts. There's just all that information here, okay? The next piece that I'll share is summer reading material. So there is a little bit of summer reading homework that we will expect of you before you arrive on July 8th and before block 1 begins, essentially. And it's a textbook. It's called Rough Sleepers. Again, coursework begins on July 8th, like Christian said. This is a block that is going to be discussed, kind of that introductory block 1. And this is a textbook that will be covered throughout block 1 as well. You can order it here. That's just a link to Amazon. But if you wanted to purchase that book now, you can also probably get it at maybe your even local library, perhaps, or whatnot. But we just provided the Amazon link there. There's also just some objectives and kind of some questions below that we ask, like that you think about, perhaps answer while you're reading the textbook. So I don't have to go through this whole thing, but you can see that as well. This is also a block 1 textbook list. So this is a list of really required texts that we're going to need students to have for block 1. There's only actually 2 required texts here, you can see. And then this is also just some supplemental material as well. And then some other required, I think these are mostly consists of journal articles as well. You can see there's some links here. There's also some print copies on reserve here as well. But check this out. And if you have questions, please let me know. But this is just material that you'll want to have ready or be able to have access to being ready by the time you start block 1. So summer reading, have that book read, and then also have these texts ready to be available to yourself either electronically or paperback perhaps by and the rough sleepers is on here too, by the time block 1 begins. So next steps here, we're going to go into the computer requirements here. So we're going to click on that. So this is for the incoming medical students provided by our UTech office here. You are required to have a laptop for medical school, and you have to have the latest generation operating systems on that laptop device as well. So you can see there's a pretty comprehensive breakdown of the technology requirements. If you're a Mac person, if you're a Windows person, whatever that might look like, everyone is going to be provided with an iPad as well as an Apple Pencil for first-year students. This iPad requirement does not replace the laptop requirement. You'll need to have your own computer, MacBook, laptop. Will in addition be providing you with an iPad as well. The iPad is not going to have a case provided. If you would like a case for your iPad, that will be up to you to purchase that. And this is all the information here. I'm not going to maybe read all this here, but you can just see this is what, if you have questions, you can also email the HEC support. This is an email address that is monitored pretty closely. So if you have questions about any of the technology requirements, you can certainly use us as a resource or email the HEC support. Okay. We're also going to have a computer handbook. Thought we'd have that maybe today or very soon, but it's not here quite yet. So coming in June, you'll be able to see it hopefully by June, or it'll be maybe perhaps available at our next meeting. And
Hey,
there's
Tom.
yeah. Oh, sorry,
Jump in
Christian. Go
real quick.
ahead.
Yeah, no, just
Yeah.
want to add about the computer thing.
Uh-huh.
Like Tom said, make sure you go over the specs, and there will be some online computer orientation sessions that you'll
Yes.
have to attend in the month of June, where you'll work with one of our UTech staff to get your computer with like all the bells and whistles and apps and stuff that you need to function in our curriculum. So we're emphasizing this because we want you to start to now look at your specs, see if they meet the specs, the minimum specs. So that way, when it's time to set up your appointment with our UTech staff for an online like update, where they get everything set up, that they're not like, hey, it doesn't meet the specs, and now school starts in 2 weeks or something like that. So, so look at that now and be prepared for later.
And
Thanks,
there'll
Tom.
also, yeah, thanks, Christian. There'll also be more to come too, as well in terms of this just computer handbook and all that. But there'll be, yes, awesome. No, thank you for that, Christian. So we're gonna, again, I'm not gonna read through this whole thing, but this kind of breaks everything down pretty clearly. All right. The next thing here is going to be our white coat ceremony. So our white coat ceremony is going to take place it'll be on the second Sunday in July. So this is going to be Sunday, July the 14th. And we're going to make this page available to everybody here right after this meeting as well. So mark your calendars for that Sunday, July 14th for our white coat ceremony. And there is not a guest limit for the white coat ceremony. So you are able to invite moms, dads, significant others, and whoever you would like to attend. But it'll take place at Severance Hall. It usually starts about 11 a.m. So that will be the plan again this year, starts at 11 a.m. And there's also an event for parents and partners that will start at 9 o'clock. So we'll make that page available and share more details as it comes, but you can mark your calendar for 11 a.m. And 9 a.m. for the partners and parents session on Sunday, the 14th. All right. Is there anything else, Christian, that I missed, or does anybody have any questions? I know we've kind of covered a decent amount of information here in a pretty short period of time, I see too. So if there's anybody that has questions, we can answer those now, or we can talk about anything else too. Maybe there's going to be coming if there's questions about that. I also know I see Krista here from MSTP. Hi, Krista. Great to see you. So if anybody has direct MSTP questions, you have our representative from the MSTP office here as well.
When we start getting emails through our case email address, the admissions office, us, will continue to communicate with you via the email address that you have with AMCAS, because we just use our admissions platform. It's easier for us to blast things out through our admissions platform. Um, and if that email address is changing because you're graduating and let's say your tech office is like, hey, after you graduate, we delete your email. Make sure you update that with AMCAS. We're not able to make changes in our admissions database about your contact information. Only you can make that update. So you just go to AMCAS. That's the one thing you can update in AMCAS is your contact information. So I encourage you to do that because that's how they're going to continue to stay in touch with you after you matriculate. The AAMC will use that email address, so update it there. And then as far as case email address, if you haven't, you should have activated your case network ID, and then you can start checking your case email address. That's where like the financial aid award is going to be going, I believe. And then as we get into June-ish, our like colleagues in other departments, particularly in the curriculum, will start to communicate with you through your case email address because they don't have access to our admissions address. So we'll start to make that transition in June, where you're going to get a little more from our friends in the medical education departments, from stuff they might need from you, or reminders or hellos and that kind of thing. So we'll start to get a little bit of both. So, and that's why we're going to continue to have these meetings, because we'll might alert you like, hey, our friends in curriculum said they want us to tell you to start checking this thing out. You should have got an email in your case account last week. So we'll also try to prompt you for that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, and I see there was a question in there about parking, and we historically parking has always become available at the very beginning of June. So that will likely be the case again. Now, we don't have an exact date, so we will update accordingly when we hear when parking becomes available. So parking becomes available at the beginning of June. The commit to enroll deadline is June 3rd. Why is that important? Well, in order to register for parking, you need to have an activated case network ID. And if you don't have an activated case network ID yet, you will not be able to register for parking. So if you are able to perhaps commit to enroll prior to June 3rd, there's probably going to be perhaps about a 24 to 48 hour window from when you are officially matriculated into our system and with a case ID activated, and when the time you select commit to enroll. So if you select commit to enroll, let's say you did that today, probably sometime by tomorrow or perhaps Monday, you'll be officially in our system with an activated case network ID as a matriculated student. So if you wait till the deadline, June 3rd, to select commit to enroll, might not have you in the system until June 5th, let's say. It'll be maybe a 24 to 48 hour window. So sometimes the sooner the better commit to enroll. June 3rd is the deadline, and that's the date you have until. But historically, parking has become available at the very beginning of June, and there could be about a 1 to 2 business day grace period between when you officially are matriculated into the system, if you've selected commit to enroll, to when you can register for parking.
We're going to re-emphasize a question in here about transcripts. Emily said that she hasn't taken any new courses since she submitted her AMCAS application. And to reiterate what Tom said, that AMCAS does not send us those transcripts
Nope.
that you sent them for like your verification stuff. We require your official transcripts from your institutions. And what happens then is a permanent file is going to be created for you that will stay at the School of Medicine in perpetuity. And so that's why we need those official transcripts, because AMCAS doesn't send them, and then a permanent file is created for you here as a student and will stay here until forever. So that's why we need those.
Yeah. So we got 2 questions from Nikki and Julie. I'm going to start with Julie real quick. When are we officially matriculated? We are going to begin the matriculation process next week. It'll be on Wednesday, which will be Wednesday, May the 22nd. That was when it will start. We will only be we matriculate students kind of in batches. It'll be everybody who has selected commit to enroll. So that's when the matriculation process will start. And that's when that process will essentially begin. And then we'll be matriculating every day following after next Wednesday. We'll be matriculating every day if there are any new students that have officially selected commit to enroll and have withdrawn from all of their waitlist positions.
Tom, I want to clarify something a little bit. Julie's question was about, is it when we have an activated student ID? And that there's a little, you had said like you have to have an activated case network ID to get access to this. And
Mhm.
at step one, you have to, we'll have
Yeah, thank you,
to
Christian. Okay.
activate your case network ID. But like Tom just said, we're only matriculating students or starting to next Wednesday who are commit to enroll. And so that's our trigger, like, hey, we know that you're coming to us. And it's kind of a big deal when we do that for the registrar's office because they don't want to have to take people out who like maybe they were get accepted someplace else and they're, going and pulling that kind of student record out after they're matriculated is a real pain for them. So they said we only want to matriculate students that we know have committed to us. So we're going to start that process next week, next Wednesday. And as
Thanks for that,
far
Christian.
as, yeah, we're going to talk to you. We're still working with our access services office is the office that handles parking, student IDs, um, and let's see what else. So we're getting more information from them about how they want to collect pictures for your student IDs. So that'll be in the next couple weeks kind of thing. But basically you upload a picture with you with certain specs. You upload a picture. You probably did this for undergrad too. I know my kids are doing it. And then we'll have the ID cards here ready for you when you arrive. There's usually a day, like on the first day of school, usually our student affairs office distributes the cards to everybody. So more to come on that. Um, let's see. Do we know when they're going to get access to one-to-one? Is it like, is it after the matriculated? Like, I don't know.
I believe it's after you've matriculated. Yeah, I would have to believe it's after you've already matriculated and when you probably even when you receive your student ID. So I probably would say maybe that first day on July 8th. I think that's probably when you can count on getting access to one-to-one fitness or also and or the VO Rec Center as well.
Because you got to swipe in with your ID
You got to
card.
swipe in with the ID, and you're not going to get your ID, we know, until orientation. So,
So July 8th.
yeah, so I would probably say July 8th, that first day of class will be the first active day. You'll have all those resources, including the gym, for example, available to
Mhm.
you. And I know the one-to-one fitness membership is not something that is mandatory. That's an additional expense that you can choose to opt out of or whatnot. Um, so, and if you choose to opt into it and purchase that, I would say that date would be the same as well for the regular kind of VO Rec Center and the one-to-one.
Eventually, as we get a little bit farther down the road, we'll talk to you about the different fees that you can opt out of in your student information account. And that's not something you have to do right away in July anyway. It's not billed until like September. Like the first bill is not due until beginning of September. But we'll talk to you about the different fees that you can opt out of. Because for one, all graduate students are automatically given a one-to-one membership. But then if you're like, I'm not using that place, just go and assist. Not right now, after you get here in July, and then you can go in and say, I'm waiving that one-to-one membership. It's a one click. So we'll prep you. Nothing to do right now. We'll talk about it as we get a little bit down the road.
There's a lot more to come.
Yeah.
And next meeting, we'll have a checklist for you that kind of breaks it down pretty clearly. Like I'm a list person. That's how I kind of roll. So if that's how you roll too, we'll have a nice checklist for you of like, all right, here's our text requirements. Here's this, here's that. And then you can kind of cross-reference that and you can start to kind of check some of these boxes off at our next meeting. So this is just use this as a
Yeah.
brief overview and there'll be a lot more to come.
Abigail asked me, she's like that she heard from a student that the only software they needed was their exam software. Was kind of surprised at the level of the specs that are needed for the laptop. We don't create those. They're just given to us as to what to share with you. So if you have specific questions, that hit that help at UTech or that what the email address that's on the IT website page, just email them. And if you have some specific questions, maybe they can walk you through why they require that level of extensive specs for laptops. I just don't have the answer, and I don't want to make stuff up. So go to the source, and I'm sure they'll be happy to help. All right. Anything else? This was just a check-in, a little bit of info. By the next meeting, are you referring to the second enrollment? Yes, our second pre-enrollment meeting date. That will be May 30th. And so that's when we'll see you again next. In the meantime, if you have questions, you know how to reach us. We're easily accessible. So yep, the next meetings are just, it's not the same information. The more we get that comes to our office, the more we're going to share with you. And so I've pushed out a email to a bunch of people this week and across the med school that said, hey, if you guys have updates for our incoming class, let me know. And things are starting to roll in. So this is what we have so far today, and more to come in the next 2 weeks. And anything else right now? If not, we'll say our goodbyes and maybe see you in 2 weeks. The next one. But it's so cool to see everybody on here. Like this is, I'm psyched. Like I'm pumped. It's getting closer. Like
We've all
July
worked
8th.
so hard to get here, you know?
Yeah,
You all have
and
worked so hard. It's
it's like
really an honor
happening.
to see you
Like this
all.
is happening. You know
It's
what I mean? Like,
happening.
it's
It's
finally
real.
happening. So I can't wait. We always get so excited about the first day of school because it's like it took us a long time to get you here. Went through a lot of work to get you guys here.
And
So
then you'll
that's
be hearing from us to start the next cycle with admission.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
never ends. We love it.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for spending some little bit of time in your afternoon with us. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Anything else comes up before then, reach out and say hi. All right. We'll help you out. All right. Bye, everybody. See you later. Thank you.
Have a great afternoon, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.